Hello, everyone. Today is June 28th. I'm here with Erwin Ho. Erwin is a medical candidate at the California University of Science and Medicine and a surfer. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Erwin.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So, congratulations on getting into medical school.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been quite the road for me to be where I am today. Stoked to be here. Missing San Diego, obviously, because I'm not sure if you're still living in San Diego.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful city. Wish I could be there.
Yes. Where are you living now?
um, I'm in the Inland Empire, so like by San Bernardino. Um, and I'm in this exact city is Fontana.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
have
if
a
you're familiar with that area.
I am. I have a good friend who went to UCSD as well, and he was born and raised in Fontana.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yes. Are you at school right now?
No, we just moved into a house like on Saturday. So I'm in my
Wow,
new room. Yeah.
that's crazy. So you just moved?
I literally just moved. My room's a mess right now. I'm like on like my desk is actually in the common room, but it's a little too noisy for me to be out there. So I'm like in my I'm on the floor with like my laptop's propped up onto a printer, which is propped up onto a box.
Wow,
Yeah.
oh man. And were you living in San Diego before that?
No, I moved out for so I'm gonna be a second year, and right now, my first year I actually moved out. At the beginning of the pandemic, I moved to Huntington Beach, and then I just waited until school started, which was like in late July, August, and then I moved out to kind of like Colton, which is kind of close to Riverside and Redlands, and I lived there for a year. So.
Oh wow. So you were in medical school last year during the pandemic.
Yeah, I didn't have to move, but it was nice to like kind of get out here and meet people and make friends. Shit, like make friends.
Did you meet with other students in your cohort?
Yeah, a few. I've definitely like my two roommates. I stuck with them. They're cool. Met some other really cool people. Actually, one of my closest friends at medical school was a girl I taught surfing at UCSD like years ago.
Wow,
Yeah. Um,
that's coincidental.
Super coincidental. Yeah, it was bizarre. It was really funny because I remember it must have been like 2013 when I taught her, and she already graduated UCSD at that point, and she was just like hanging out, and I was like, she just did the class with her friend for fun, and then she like we like surfed once after that, and then um, I like didn't see her for a couple of years, and I ran into her at UCSD like when I was taking my like post bac classes, and she was doing it. I was like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, like I thought about medical school," and I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "We should study sometime," and then we never studied sometime, and then like first day of school on the Zoom meeting, she texts me on my phone. It was like, "Hey, do you go to like CUSM by any chance?" And I was like, "Yeah, do you?" And then now we're great friends. So it was just
Wow.
wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
How big is your class?
My class is 130.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Wow. How has it been? How was your first year?
It's been nice. I kind of took advantage of virtual learning because everything was. I actually didn't have to move, so I stayed with my girlfriend lives in Santa Monica, so I stayed with her for a lot of time. Um, I know a lot of my friends who are surfers, like they took advantage of like the virtual learning. I had one guy did an entire block, which is how like medical school is broken up the first 2 years. So it's like in blocks. Um, and he did it in Hawaii. It was yeah. So
Wow. Some people really did COVID correctly,
dude, right?
while most of us did not. Some people, it's just like, oh, yeah, I went to New Mexico and Montana and Colorado for the entire 9 months. I'm like, wow, you really, I mean, and like your friend who just went to Hawaii for an entire block, it's like,
What was I doing?
Well, yeah, what was I doing? Seriously, it's not easy to get up and do that. You really have to like commit to doing something like that, especially if you're still in medical school or still have like a 9 to 5 technically.
Yeah, and there's all like other considerations like family, like this is a pandemic, like like we no one's navigated this before, you know?
No,
So, yeah.
there
What have
are
you been up to?
other
Sorry.
considerations. No, no worries. I've been, since school working a lot. Um, I got a dog, like you heard before the podcast started.
Hmm.
I got her about 5 months ago, so that's
Okay.
been an adventure.
What happened?
I just wanted a dog, really. We were all working from home, so I was like, I'd like and I live by myself, so
Okay,
it's nice
nice.
to have some, you know, life in the place besides me.
Oh, okay, nice. What type of dog is it?
She's supposedly a cattle dog terrier mix.
Uh-huh.
Uh, she's a mutt. I don't know exactly what she is, but I should get it checked out because she's like a brindle color, so it's like not really
Hmm.
doesn't look like a cattle dog, but she's a good girl. I really got lucky with her.
Stoked.
Yes. I saw on you posted some videos last year of
Hmm.
surfing.
Okay, yeah.
Were those recorded last year? Or were those from years ago?
Was this on Instagram or?
No, this was on YouTube.
Okay. So last year I was the assistant coach to the UC San Diego surf team.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, so it was like, or I guess not last year, it would be 2 years ago now, like the year before medical school. Um, I was just helping out, filming. I'd film the team because like the best way to get better at surfing is if you see yourself, right? Because like the biggest problem with surfing is that like people will catch a wave, they'll do their tricks or maneuvers, whatever you want to call them, and they're like, oh, it felt sick. But then you look at it on camera, and it's like, no, that does not look as good as it felt. Um, so I did a lot of filming for the team just because I have previous experience with film and shooting, so it could help them improve.
Nice. What were you filming before?
Oh, so much. I filmed. I used to film my other friends surfing, and we produced a few video clips that were shown on like Surfline and other surf websites. And then way before that, I was really into broadcast journalism when I was in high school. Um, so I did a lot of filming for that, a lot of like documentary-esque stuff
For your high school?
for my high school. Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just a shout out. It was called Live from 205, and we were like a pretty good award-winning broadcast team. We would compete nationally against other high schools. So,
Really?
mhm.
Wow. That's legit.
I learned a lot, cried a lot too.
Cried a lot? What, because it was
Yeah,
so competitive?
it was competitive, and my high school teacher was very strict and kind of very aggressive, in a good way.
Wow.
He made you feel bad when you didn't do a good job. But it was like he nailed it. He nailed the right amount of disappointment, where it would actually motivate us, um, rather than like demoralize us. So
Nice. That's
yeah,
not easy to get in a high school teacher.
no, not at all.
And he was your film teacher?
Yeah, he
Or
was my film journalism teacher.
okay, journal.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And then that's nice. Like you use that for, something like your school and then your teacher who's really passionate about it. And then you're able to implement that skill into your own passion, which is surfing.
Yeah, I never thought that would ever translate that way. And it was nice because I definitely wasn't expecting to go. A lot of my friends ended up working ultimately like for the LA Times, or they had like stints at CNN and stuff. But for me, I never thought I was going to go into journalism or broadcast. So I was like, oh, I'm probably going to lose all this skill set. But surfing came by, and I was like, oh, I can film this. So
Wow. So your
yeah.
high school fellow journalist, like members of your journal team,
Mm-hmm.
went on to like big name companies like CNN and LA. Did you say LA Times?
Yeah, one of my good friends, she's a writer for the LA Times now. Um, and a lot of all of my friends in the program went on to like USC School of Annenberg, which is a very top name like journalism school. So
USC School of Annenberg.
hmm
Okay. And you went to Palos Verdes High School?
yeah,
Okay. Wow. And you said something 205.
live from 205. Yeah.
Is that your specific grade, your year's journal team, or is that like PV High School's like journaling program?
That's the PV High School broadcast journalism team. Um, and there's like a lot of it's specific to the school, not my year.
Got it. And it's a
hmm
like well-renowned program nationally.
Yeah, that was like when I was in middle school going to high school, we had the choice to pick between two high schools, and I picked PV High specifically for that program. Um,
Really?
yeah, I got into video production in the seventh grade, and then they would always talk about PV High's like program, so I went and I joined it, and we would compete a lot. Carlsbad has a good. Us and Carlsbad were like always going at it for like first and second place. So
Really? Oh wow.
they have a good
Carl's
program too.
Carlsbad High School. And what were you going to say something?
Miracosta also had a good program. Oh, I
Maricosta.
guess. Sorry, you're not from the South Bay. I just assumed that you would know that.
South Bay, which South Bay?
South Bay, Los Angeles, where Palos Verdes is located.
Okay, got it. And Miracosta's in that area?
Miracosta's in that area.
Okay. We have a
That's where.
call. Go.
Oh, that's where Neil went to high school.
Miracosta?
Yeah, and there's also the
Oh,
College Miracosta in San Diego.
that's what I got confused with. Got
hmm
it. Okay. Then, and that's very close to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Hermosa Beach or
hmm
Manhattan Beach. Did you know anyone named Sean Riley?
No, but I feel like you've asked me this question before.
Okay.
Sean Riley.
He transferred into PV High School. He was class of 2011. He transferred into PV High School our junior year, just for 1 year. So
Huh. How do you spell it?
SEANREILLY.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Yeah, you might have some mutual friends. I could imagine because
Oh my gosh, I do recognize him.
really, and am I a mutual friend with?
Uh,
That's my very good friend.
wait. No, you're not. You're not a mutual friend. Are we friends on Facebook?
Oh right, I just re-added mine. Does he have like is he him with brown wavy hair and a blue sky background?
Yeah, and it's like blowing backwards.
Yeah, that's all right. Wow, and you have mutual friends from PV.
Yeah, he might. I recognize him, but our mutual friends is from Palos Verdes Peninsula High School, which is the rival one.
Got
So
it.
maybe I actually didn't know him.
No, maybe you didn't. I think
Yeah,
he went to the. I didn't know. Okay, so there's two high schools there.
there's two. Yeah.
And was the Peninsula one the one you had an option to go to?
That
Got
one
it.
actually made more sense for me because I lived closer to it.
Really?
Yeah,
But the program was legit.
the program was legit. Yeah.
And you were in it for all 4 years?
Um, you can't. Oh, you could apply as a. It was crazy. Like for a program in high school, you would apply, and there was like it was a 3-step process to get in. Like you submit your application, and if they like you, they then have you do. I think they take you in for an interview, and then after you do your interview, if they like you during your interview, they ask you to do a journalism project, and then and then they decide based on how well you do in that project if you make it or not.
And
So
you're
it
in
was
eighth
pretty.
grade?
Yeah,
Wow.
there's every now and then there'd be like an 8th grader that does this. I didn't. I actually applied after my freshman year of high school.
Got
Um,
it.
but it was pretty intense. Yeah.
It sounds very intense. And anything with nationally ranked high school children is going to have some high high intensity competition.
Yeah. The interview is like a semicircle, and there's 15 of them, and the teacher in front of you, and you're in this chair, like surrounded. Yeah. You're like
Wow.
sweating bullets. Yeah.
I'm actually reading a book, and that's exactly like there's a part in the university where it's just like that. It's just
Oh
like
my.
one kid, and this is a fictional book, and then just like
Uh,
7 masters around him, and just them asking really hard questions.
oof.
Is that what it was? Them just asking you really hard questions? And
Yeah, hard questions and typical interview stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
What setup did you have when you went out, like when you go onto the beach? Do you just record with like a point and shoot camera, or
I used to well, I don't have any of my equipment anymore. I sold it all.
wow,
Um, yeah, I know. I donated some of it to the surf team because I know they would still use it down the line. But essentially, you would have a tripod, and you want to make sure it's a fluid head tripod, which is it's I think the panning is really smooth because in surfing they're so far, and if you're really zoomed in, any like subtle motion with your camera will give you a shaky shot. So you need a really good tripod. That's like most of it. And then you need, so I had a DSLR, and I had a 300 millimeter lens with a doubler. So it was actually a 600 millimeter. So it just shot really far because in surfing, you kind of don't really know how far they're going to be away from you. And you kind of want a close up shot.
got it.
Yeah.
Because anything that's too zoomed out will just be like, what's going on?
Yeah. Like which surfer are we talking about now?
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That's nice of you to donate that.
Yeah. I figured.
Was that because you were entering medical school and you were like, I need to let some things go, or what was the
Mm,
reason you
I I actually donated it before. I was trying to get rid of all my equipment, and pretty much anything I couldn't sell for a significant amount, I donated.
got it?
Yeah.
You've been watching surfing videos since like definitely since college. Like adamantly, I remember you were watching surfing videos. When you watch yourself surf, what are you looking for, and what improvements are you looking to make, or deficiencies that you're noticing?
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard to when I'm looking at myself, you're kind of looking at everything. Um, what it's interesting when you're a surfer and you see someone stand up on a surfboard, just catching a wave and standing up, not even doing the maneuver itself. You can immediately tell if they're going to be a good surfer or not. It's just very subtle body language. Um, so I guess when I look at myself surfing, it's like, how are my arms placed? Or is it tight when I'm like turning? How when I do my turn, how much water am I pushing out? How fast I'm going? If my if my back like in surfing this, you get style points if your back foot is knock kneed. It looks nicer. Otherwise,
Knock
you kind
knee?
of yeah. How, like a drop knee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, like your ankle is down?
Yeah, your ankle's down and your hard to describe. Essentially, like your imagine your front leg is kind of extended, but your back leg is bent.
Okay. Like on a
Yeah,
knee.
like you kind of like on a knee. Yeah,
Okay.
like you're on one knee, but you're not actually touching. Um, and that in surfing, that looks aesthetically better um, than if you were to, for example, when you snowboard or you have your bindings and your feet are kind of locked in their position
Yes.
and it looks like they're squatting. You don't want to look like you're squatting when you're surfing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Are you
called kook butt.
kook butt?
Yeah.
Wow. And does that throw off the balance?
Honestly, uh, some people might argue that's a more stable stance than a knock-kneed stance, which is that's when you get into this kind of weird area where it just looks ugly, but some of the best surfers have kind of an ugly stance. It actually gives them more stability and control, but it looks ugly. So yeah, the knock knee thing is definitely, I would say, kind of a vain thing. It's all about appearance, if anything.
Got it. But that can win
Yeah.
you points in a competition too.
Um, I guess so. Yeah. Since it's subjective, I'm sure a judge that sees you surfing knock kneed and surfing well, they would think that you're a lot better of a surfer than the guy who is kind of more squatty and doing the same thing. Yeah. I would be subconsciously swayed toward the guy who's knock kneed or gal.
Got it. And this is a like surf culture belief. Like this isn't your personal like surfers everywhere are like knock knee is superior to squat. I know you said that some like just squat, but
Mhm.
it is a widely held belief that knock you should be knock kneed.
Yeah, if you get into more like surfers who have been surfing for a lot of time, and we start talking about style and technique, yeah, knock kneed is definitely what is praised. It's only when you talk to the people who they live, breathe, eat surfing that's their career, and you start talking to them about knock kneed versus more of a like squared stance, then that's when you start seeing this because the only people I've heard like who are proponents of a more squared stance are people who are really into surfing. Like if I'm 90%, they're like 99.99% into it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be pretty good. There's a high learning curve there before you can actually use a squatting stance effectively, it seems.
Um, Not use it effectively, but kind of appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
hmm
I can understand that.
Yeah. Surfing culture is weird.
In what way?
Um, I guess it's not the greatest culture. Um, we've heard stories of localism. It's very territorial. Um, there's a lot of people. It's not friendly. It's not a place where there's open arms. Um, but the comparison I always make to rock climbing. And if you know anyone who rock climbs, they're always willing to say, "Hey, let's go hang out. Let's go climb." They'll show you how to do things. That they want you to be there. Well, in surfers, like if you see a car roll up with 5 people in it, it's a groan, not like, damn it, there's people here now. So
Got it. There's only so many waves.
yeah. But I think it's happening to climbing too. I definitely know a lot of. I was talking to a pretty good climber the other day, and we were complaining about surfing because we just finished surfing, and I was asking him like, how has climbing changed? And he was essentially saying it's getting more crowded. There's more people out there. kind of not understanding how to treat the rock and how to be respectful of their environment. And I'm like, surfing did this. Surfing went through the same thing as more people started doing it. So
Yes.
we'll
Oh
see.
man, we'll see what happens. Rock
Yeah.
climbing has gained popularity very quickly.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is insane. Surfing has, I feel like, has been very popular for a long time. Has it
hmm
gotten any worse recently?
Oh, COVID was the worst. Oh my gosh.
Really?
It, I don't, I mean, I personally haven't seen this, but reading surf journalism, I don't think you can buy a wetsuit anymore. They're sold out. Like,
Really?
yeah, this was like the best year in surfboard sales and wetsuit sales ever.
Damn.
Because once the pandemic hit, surfing was for a while was the only thing you could do, or like climb outdoors, which required driving way too far. Um,
Yes.
so everyone surfed. Oh my gosh, I remember surfing with everyone. It was wild. There was just way too many people. It's a little
That-
dangerous.
really?
hmm
So what do you do? Do you just how so how often will you not catch a wave when you go out surfing?
Mm, it depends. It's like there's many factors that affect that. Um, it depends on the location. You know, if it's kind of a more of a beginner break, I'll probably be catching waves nonstop.
Okay.
But if you put me in, there's this wave called lower trestles, which is they hold the top tier competition there, which is called the World Surf League. And there's up and coming pros, there's traveling pros, all the pros are there. I can go like an hour without catching a wave. It's that competitive.
Wow.
Yeah, it also depends on other things. For example, if you have a ground swell, which is essentially if the period between the waves are longer, you just have less frequency of waves versus a wind swell where it's an 8 second period and you just get wave after wave after wave. So
That
there's
may
multiple factors. Yeah.
a wind swell would make it like pretty impossible to surf, correct?
If it's too short, there are sweet spots for wind swells. Like for example, 4 second wind swell. That's victory at sea. That's like when you go to the beach in the afternoon and it's been howling onshore wind the whole day. It's surfable, but it's not fun.
Got it.
But 8 second wind swell, you can definitely surf it. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you said you might only be able to catch one wave an hour in an area like lower trestles
That's
because
correct.
it's what did you say? What about that area makes that
Oh,
difficult?
it's usually the swells that multiple factors again. The swells that work there are very long periods. So we're talking 16 second period, and there's just a bunch of pros, like 5-year-old like future pros, like all the way up until like people who are in their 50s, and they're surfing as if surfing them better than I'll ever surf. There are old guys there that are like just out, crusty skin pros, all they know is
Yes.
surfing. Yeah. So
Where is lower trestles?
it's in San Clemente.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. But that's a like pretty popular surf spot for really tough waves.
Yeah. They call it the surfing skate park.
Surfing
because,
skate park because what?
yeah, because you can almost, the way the wave breaks, it's perfect for almost any type of like maneuver or trick. Um, so it's like a perfect canvas to do whatever you want.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your
I don't.
what were
Sorry.
you gonna say?
Oh, I probably just gonna keep ranting or keep going off.
Oh, that's okay. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
That's what it's here for. But what's your favorite beach in that you've ever surfed, or what's some good
Ooh,
international beaches that you've surfed as well?
surf as well. One of my favorite places I've ever surfed is Honolulu Bay in Maui. Um, Gorgeous, great waves. Also, I really like Hanalei Bay in Kauai, just because it's so pretty. Have you been to Kauai?
No, Maui I've been, but not
No.
Kauai. How
Okay,
it's pretty.
so yeah, it's straight up gorgeous. Oh my God, it's like on the north shore of Kauai, and it's a small. There's like a small town around it, and it's like a bay. And when you're out there, I can't even describe it. There's like these perfect mountains. There's crystal clear, um, and the waves are fun. But honestly, one of my favorite places to surf was Black's Beach, San Diego. Like that was it. That's that's a world class wave for sure.
Really? I mean, I've heard,
Hmm.
but like even, you having lived there for 5+ years, you still believe like that's one of the best we could get.
Yeah, no, there are some days, there are a few days at Blacks where I've surfed it, and I was like, these are the best waves I've seen in my life, and I've traveled a bit for surfing. You know, I've been to a few other places that have really good waves, but Black's Beach is that's a world class wave for sure. Um, it's really funny because when I'm with my girlfriend in Los Angeles and we're surfing, it is nothing like Black's Beach. It is really closed out, which means that the wave is just breaking all at once. The shape's really bad. It's small. It makes us miss San Diego a lot because it was good down there.
Do you know what the reason that might be? Is it because like of how like Los Angeles and Santa Barbara jut out, or do you
Yeah. Why Black's Beach is good?
know why Black's Beach? Well, yes, why Black's Beach is good and why LA is not good.
Um, I have theories on why LA is not good. I'm not too sure. But Black's Beach is good because of one, its angle. It faces northwest and it has a canyon that will bend the wave back onto itself. Um, so essentially, it'll make like if you sit on the top of the cliffs of at Black's Beach and watch a very like an 18-second period swell, you'll see the way it will look like a checkerboard
Okay,
of like it's super weird. You'll see waves, but like they're like perfectly 90 degrees from each other because they're going like directions like this. They're going perpendicular to each other, and they'll make a perfect shape when it goes to the beach. And that's because the canyon refracts the wave exactly back, like back towards it. Sorry, the hands. Um, so it has the benefit of that. In Los Angeles, I have no idea why there's no canyon. There is a canyon, but the way the sand moves, I think because of it's kind of like a really big bay. Um, there's just not good sand movement. So the sandbars are really bad in Los Angeles, and it can't handle any real swell. It's bizarre. The more you try to think about Los Angeles surfing, the crazier I get. So I try not to think too much about it.
got it.
Yeah,
You haven't been doing much surfing recently, have you?
not really. I practically retired.
Wow. How much have you done in like 2021?
Probably 20 times. I try to go as much as I can when I'm in LA. So maybe once, at most 4 times a month, every weekend, but maybe two or three.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
That's a huge life change from living. I mean, UCSD is like, if you surf, UCSD is a great school.
do it the best.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how's second year of medical school treating you?
Well, I'm actually on summer right now. So
Really?
yeah, it's my last summer. Um, so I've been chilling, working at the hospital a little bit, collecting data for my professor, and that's about it.
You were you working at the VA in at UCSD?
I did work at the VA for one summer. I didn't. It was just in a small micro lab. Um, but
What
yeah,
what jobs have you had since you've gotten into school?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. After I graduated, I worked a year as a production chemist for a it sounds way cooler than it actually is. Um, it was for a medical device company, and I was essentially just following directions on a piece of paper on a standard operating procedure and making whatever they wanted me to make.
Got
Um,
it. How are you
I
making
felt
it?
just mixing stuff or on a Bunsen, like on a burnt, like a hot plate and stirring it. Just very like basic stuff. It was an entry level job that I hated. It
What
actually
did you
kind
hate
of
about it?
just the monotony, there was no critical thinking involved. I just followed instructions, and the hours were like, it was cool to have money and like be able to travel and uh, have your weekends off, but it wasn't fulfilling.
Where'd you
So that's what
travel?
I went to Costa Rica, went to Banff National Park, Canada.
What?
Uh,
That's not for work though, right?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no, just in my free
you
time.
meant with the money that you got.
Yeah, with the money I
Got
got.
it. I thought you meant that you traveled for
No,
work.
no, I
Banff
wish.
National Park is awesome. I've never been there, but based off the pictures I've seen, I want to go. How was that for
Dude,
you?
have you been to Yellowstone?
No,
Or have you been to Glacier National Park?
no. I'm going to Montana for the first time in September.
Oh, no way. You're gonna have such a
Yeah.
good time. Where are
I
you
hope.
going?
I have to figure that out. I have an elk tag, so I have to do some scouting on where's the best place for me to go.
What's an elk tag?
Like a tag to kill and harvest an elk, which
Have
is
you done
like
this before?
I harvested a deer last year, and that was pretty wild. With
Dude, tell me about it.
It was really wild. I mean, it was tough because hunting is like there's two different things. Like I got into the bow, like with
Mm,
archery, and then you have archery, and then you have hunting, and like I was doing a lot of archery before I got into this hunt last year, so I felt I was good with the bow,
uh,
but I wasn't really that well versed on hunting. So like it's really tough. Like there's a lot that you need to get in and be ready for before you can go out and like be prepared to put yourself in a position to kill and harvest an animal. And so like now I feel much more confident. Like I have my maps, I have my
uh,
GPS application, I have like my food set up.
uh,
I know like I've been listening to this podcast on it, and just like I know like how I should plan it out, and I'm going to go into it before. Like last year I just went out to the national forest
uh-huh.
and just, had no very little plan, and just went for it. I was successful
Mm.
amazingly, and I harvested the deer and I ate it, and
Whoa.
it was pretty wild.
Do you use all of it or as much as you can?
I did. I had so this was my first butchering.
Okay.
I At one point I did it very poorly, but at one point when I was cutting off the back leg, I
Mm.
nicked the colon,
Oh,
and a bunch of like bile started spilling out onto the leg, onto the
uh,
meat. So I had to cut off that piece of meat,
uh,
and leave that behind, and just take the salvaged meat.
whoa.
It
Did you
was
eat?
Yeah, I ate it.
Sorry.
I froze it all, and then I ate it over the next 2 or 3 months.
Oh my gosh, that's so much meat.
It's not too much meat
It's
from a
not?
deer.
Okay.
An elk is a lot more meat,
Mm.
but it's pretty cool. I really like it. I really like going out there,
Hmm.
and I mean it's really tough, and like I have to be prepared for failure, be
Hmm.
prepared, and just still have fun. But I really like it, and I'm
How
gonna go
does,
to Montana.
yeah, that's gonna be insane.
Yeah, well,
How does that make you feel? going out there, killing your own animal and harvesting it versus going to a store and buy this package, boneless, just so far removed from what you're from the slaughtering.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just when I ate it, just like the hunt, didn't realize it, just was out there in the forest kind of doing my thing looking for a deer. Even the kill, was just like supernatural. Saw the deer, came in, boom, shot it. It didn't die, so I had to track it and I had to kill it where it was after I tracked it. And all of that, and then harvesting it was supernatural. So all up until that point, like until the point I had it in my freezer, I wasn't even thinking about it like that. I was just like, this is a hunt, this is a hunt, this is a hunt. And then I'm, just harvesting this animal. And then I remember like I was like kind of having a panic attack because I didn't really know how to store it properly. And it was like 90 plus degrees out. So I was like kind of just like, oh my God, I need to do something. But when I started eating it, that's when I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, this is like, today I didn't purchase any meat. Today, I just ate this deer shank, and I was good. Or, I ate this, backstrap, piece, like pretty much the loin of it, the loin, and just like didn't have to purchase any meat. And then once I ate it, that's when I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Everything up until the point of eating it, I was really just like, it was kind of even like a burden to some degree. But then once I cooked it, once I ate it, once I saw it, that's when it all came together for me. Like it was pretty crazy.
Whoa, that's an insane experience.
It is, and I hope that's not like, I hope to have a pretty amazing experience. I have 2 elk hunts this year, one in Southwest Colorado, and one in pretty much anywhere in Montana.
Right.
I just have to do my research to figure out where I want to go.
Damn. Yeah, that seems so intimidating.
It's very intimidating. And doing it last year, I did it by myself, and that was absolutely frightening because I was in a place. I remember I was in a place. It was Klamath National Forest in Humboldt County, and everywhere I went, I could not find deer scat, but I found so much bear scat. And just like everywhere I found, like just, big piles of turd with berries in them. And they were huge. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen coyote scat, but coyote scat is much smaller.
Right.
Like, I've hunted, there's deer in San Diego. I don't know if you know that. It's very few deer, but I've hunted out there, like kind of Mount Laguna area.
Okay, yeah.
And then everywhere you'll see coyote scat, which is like small, red, filled with berries, like kind of a dog poop, but it's red because they're eating the berries around there. And that's exactly what theirs looked like, except massive.
Oh.
And I was like, Jesus. And so doing that alone was scary, even though like there's only black bears in California, and apparently black bears aren't grizzly bears, and they're not going to blatantly attack you for an attempt to, kill you.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's just like I've gained more knowledge in this last year, so much more knowledge and so much more confidence in my ability as a hunter and as an archer as well.
That's awesome, man. I had a roommate who would go spearfishing, and I've always wanted to do, like get my own food, like kill it, cook it, and just have it, feel that like self-sufficiency.
It's cool. It's not easy.
Yeah, definitely not.
But I mean, it's cool. And if it wasn't like self-sufficient, I mean, it's a pretty like insane activity. Like,
Yeah.
spearfishing, I feel like, is a little bit less, or spearfishing is pretty crazy. Fishing is probably a little bit less like wild in the sense that it's still very fun, but like for fish and like mammals are definitely on a different like
Oh, absolutely.
level of
Yeah.
how we can relate to them.
Complexity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
complexity, exactly. So, but yeah, it's definitely, it feeds back into keep, wild places. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to knock on golf, but like whenever you purchase golf, like
Hmm.
you're pretty much promoting this false ecosystem that takes away a lot of wildlife or a lot of whatever.
Hmm.
Whereas when you purchase a hunting tag or a hunting license,
Right.
you're promoting the continuation and the funding of wild forests and wild
Right.
organizations. So it's like, you know, that's one of the reasons I got here was because like with that in the back of your mind, it's like, okay, I can be, I'm spending this money, but it's going to supposedly a pretty good cause, something that I support. So
Right.
I can get behind it, even if it seems kind of, graphic or gruesome. But,
Hmm.
we as humans are not meant to not eat meat. I think that we were raised to eat meat, and even like mass farming has its issues and its complexities. Like there's no free lunch there with climate change, and
Yeah.
it's like I made this example once, like in an Uber. I think our Uber driver was like, "Yeah, we're burning a lot of carbon by putting on this AC," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, we're born, we emit carbon, and then we die." And I feel like that's like the human story.
Yeah.
So it's like just try to emit it efficiently if you can.
Yeah, just fart a little less.
Say that again.
I said just fart a little less or something.
Just fart a little less. Oh man, that's
So,
what were you gonna say?
I was like, is there like a shit book?
What do you
It
mean?
seems like you really know your scat.
Oh yes, not a ship book, but there's this show called Meat Eater.
Uh-huh.
And dude, actually, I went on a turkey hunt
Uh-huh.
um, in April, and we were right next. And then the deers just knew that we weren't going to shoot them. So
Hmm.
this one deer, while we were hanging out, came up, bedded next to us, and eventually took a shit right next to us, which was crazy because like this deer actually feels comfortable enough to just take a poo right in front of us. So I don't know. I've definitely Googled it. I've Googled what does various shits look like, and I've seen like elks are pretty big. I've seen what uh,
Mm.
a turkeys look like, and
Right.
I've seen a lot of deer scat. Oh man, yeah, I've seen the thing is though, like with that deer when it did that right in front of us, the first thing I
Uh,
said, we didn't check it because we were busy, but the first thing I said was like, "Wow, I want to see what that poo feels like right now because I
yeah.
want to know what fresh poo feels like from a deer." Like, because I don't know, like there were times last year in my hunt when I was walking around and I would see this deer scat, and I was just like, was this from like 3 weeks ago, or was this from like 2 days ago, or like, how do I even judge this right now?
Hmm.
Versus like, and that would be a good comparison.
Right. How dry is it?
How
Is it
dry is it?
cracking? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And there's only been one time where I squished deer poo and it actually bent. So most time it's pretty dry.
Yeah. Dude,
It's
awesome.
it's an adventure. It's definitely a new activity I've gotten into.
That's sick, dude. Have you read, what's that one book? Omnivore's Dilemma?
No. Have you?
Yeah.
What's it
Um,
about?
it's about essentially the the it's the guy is like, well, you walk into a grocery store, like, what the hell do I eat? There's so many options. Um, what's good for me? There's a new research study like every year. So he explores like kind of the origin of foods. Like he has the first like third of it's about corn and how like everything from the supermarket is essentially from corn except for the produce and the meat aisle. Um, and and
Corn or
then
soy, right?
yeah, corn or soy, right? And then the second third is about organic farming, um, and like what it originated as and how like they had to make compromises and stuff about like is organic worth it essentially, um, and like what does it mean when uh, the chicken like it was like free range chicken, like what does that actually mean? Does it mean just a 10 by 10 plot of land that's like outside of their cage that they can wander around? Um, and then the last one was about him hunting and mushroom hunting. So he went and shot a deer, and he also went mushroom hunting in like San Francisco.
Wow.
But yeah, it was cool. He really enjoyed the hunting experience. So
Really?
mhm.
What's his name?
Michael Pollan.
Oh, Michael Pollan. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. He's okay. Have you seen his show on eating?
No, I haven't,
Oh,
but I want
really?
to now.
It's on Netflix. He has a four episode show. It's one episode is on fermentation, one is on meat, or
Mm,
no, I think it's on fire, water, earth, and air. And the air is fermentation, and then
uh-huh.
the fire is cooking. It's pretty
Right.
interesting.
Whoa, I bet I like what he does.
He does a lot of stuff. He also did that book on psychedelics as well,
Yeah,
which was
he
pretty
loves mushrooms.
interesting. Loves mushrooms, so it definitely has some influence.
Yeah, check
Wow.
it out. Huh, I'll check
Yeah.
out the show.
Check out the show. Yeah. It's it's pretty interesting. I like
Yeah,
cooking. Do you cook?
yeah, I try to.
It's
Yeah,
not I mean, it's definitely like a subtle art
yeah, I'd say so.
because I mean, there's small things that you can do to a meal, like adding vinegar, that can make a huge difference.
Right? Or white wine.
Or white wine, which is like the same, and
Yeah.
as acidic. What meals do you, or what are some of your favorite meals to cook?
Yeah. I guess I'm a big follower of the Food Lab. Do you follow the Food Lab?
No, what is that?
It's by Kenji Lopez. He is this chef, and he wanted to kind of demystify the science behind cooking. So he's published a book called The Food Lab, which was a bestseller. But he has a really cool YouTube channel where he cooks. He puts a GoPro on his head and he cooks.
Wow, what's
It's
it
it's
called?
it's just J Kenji Lopez.
J
First
Kenji.
person. Yeah, J Kenji Lopez is his
Okay,
name.
first person
And
cooking,
first person cooking. Yeah.
and you enjoy that?
Yeah, because he'll be cooking and he's talking you through like why he's doing everything he's doing. And you also get to see pretty much how he sets up his kitchen, how he uses his tools. Um, and it's impressive. And any every single one of his recipes I've tried, 10 out of 10. So good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of recipes are they?
He has like one of my favorites is he does a red beans and rice recipe, which is super easy, but it it gets better. It's like like stews. They just kind of get better as they like sit in the fridge. So it's great for meal prepping if you want to cook for like the whole week and eat well. He does his chicken tikka masala recipe is insane, ridiculous, so good, and it's so easy. Um, so those are definitely my two favorites that he does. But he has so many. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome. And that's how you know him pretty much is from his first person recordings.
First person recordings, and he used to be a part. I'm not sure. There's a blog or a website called Serious Eats. Um,
Serious Eats.
yeah, he used to be a big contributor of that website, and that's I get a lot of my recipes. Like if I want to know how to make something as best as I can in at home, I'll go to Serious Eats.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what brought you there?
Honestly, my cousin told me about it because my cousin was really into cooking, and it's funny. He's 10 years older than me, and we're following nearly the exact same path. It's weird. Um,
What do you mean?
like he is a doctor now.
Oh
He went to
wow.
UCSD. He took 5 years as well. He took the same amount of years off before going back to school. We almost went to the same medical school.
Which medical school?
He went to Western, which is in Pomona.
Did you
Um,
almost go there?
I almost went there, yeah, but I got into the school I currently go to, so
And you wanted to go here or
I'd
there?
rather go. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, he showed it to me, and that kind of changed my life. And the first, it's so cool. You just have to watch it.
Serious Eats
The
or
yes,
the first person
yeah,
shootings or the
the first, yeah, the
got it.
FPS cooking, yeah.
Got it. Wow. And is you said he also has a thing called Food Labs?
Yeah, that's his book. His first book is called The Food Lab, and I think there's a second one that's about to come in. Um, yeah,
Wow.
I don't know where it's at, but it's a good book. Yeah,
I'll check it out after this.
yeah,
It's I mean, he's got to be pretty entertaining, I'm guessing.
yeah. He's a funny guy. He tells a lot of like he's kind of like a dad. I don't know. It's he's I like how he talks because he obviously wrote a book, so he's pretty eloquent, and um, he goes into all this detail that you didn't think you'd want to know, but then you end up being like, whoa, like I'm so psyched that you talked about that, and like tell me why did you cut garlic this way? Why did you use a micro right, microplane, right? Stuff like that. Like why did you add this?
Microplane? What's a microplane?
A microplane is like a very fine cheese grater.
Okay.
Yeah, and some people they'll like run garlic over it, or like that's how they zest lemons. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
And some people shred
well,
garlic like that?
yeah, some people will shred garlic like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Those are the things exactly like those go even on a more micro scale than using acid in cooking and just like
yeah,
things that you would never think of. And if you were to do them by yourself for years, you'd probably, I mean, it would take years of trying and failing to
right,
learn
yeah,
something as simple as maybe using a cheese grater for your garlic is a good idea.
yeah. So that brought me exactly to like things he would do in his book. For example, he's like, this is why you should salt eggs before you scramble them, or before you cook them. And he like had like all these plates of eggs salted at different times and then cooked afterwards. And you could like taste tested it to see which one like retained more moisture. Um, so it was just it's cool.
Wow, I'm going to do that. I need to listen to this guy. And I'm going
Yeah,
to start salting my eggs before I scramble them.
yeah.
I don't even salt my eggs.
Actually, it doesn't matter if you do it when you scramble them. You want to salt them and let them sit for a bit before you cook.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that's the same thing with steak too. That actually that's a huge place of contention with
Yeah.
steak is like at what point do you salt it?
Hmm.
But I mean, I've salted steak about an hour beforehand, and I think it's better.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure. I saw this recent video where the guy doesn't even recommend he salts the cutting board that he cuts his steak on.
Afterwards,
Yeah, like he'll salt like he'll cook his steak and then he'll season the cutting board and then cut his steak on the seasoned cutting board.
but he won't season his steak before he cooks it.
I think so, yeah.
That sounds like madness to me.
Dude, there's some weird steak. Well, steak is so contentious. It's like, how do you take care of a cast iron? Like everyone has their own theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a theory towards that?
I guess I go with Kenji's theory, which is, I mean, or Kenji's belief is that you can use soap.
Okay.
So I use soap. I use a sponge. I do notice that my seasoning comes off a little faster than if I didn't, but I don't mind re-seasoning it like once or twice a year.
Got it.
Yeah.
I am pretty lax on the cleaning of my cast iron. I feel
Nice.
like because I use almost the same exact cast iron every single time I cook.
Uh,
So it's just like it just make sure there's no scraps of food in there. Get all those out. Make sure there's not too much fat still in the pan and no water. I mean,
right.
I when I first got my cast iron, there were so many nights where I would just like not clean out like just this water, and then you wake up next day and it's just rusted over, and then I just cook in that.
Fuck it.
Probably not healthy, but whatever. Yeah. Oh man, I'll have to look at this. Get on this guy's YouTube channel, Kenji. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any other YouTube or YouTubers that you follow? I've got a few.
Gosh. Yeah, let me know. Who do you follow?
A couple of hunting ones. Like right now, I'm just all up on Elk Talk.
Elk Talk. Oh, that's a good name.
To learn how to, pretty much the habits of elk and best way to hunt them.
Okay. Elk Talk.
Another one is Kosmographia, which is this guy was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's a geologist.
Yeah.
And he is also a studier of cataclysms.
Huh.
So like major extinction events.
Right.
Like meteors and volcanic eruptions and those types of things. And he's got a pretty crazy theory. I mean, I actually slightly believe it, that like a meteor came and hit the earth 12,000 years ago, and that meteor like jump started like this new boom of civilizations that happened everywhere around the world, and that boom of agriculture was a result of a meteor hitting the earth and just like everyone being like, we need to be more organized. Whoa. And in this civil, I mean, it's yeah, that's then like he has a Joe Rogan episode 726 that he pretty much explains this theory, but I was so entranced by that theory that I dove into his
rad
YouTube episode.
Interesting.
Yes. Do you have any that you've been listening to?
On YouTube, who do I like to go on YouTube? I like, well, aside from Kenji, Adam Ragusea is really good. I'm a big fan of him.
What is he?
He's also like kind of like an internet cook guy, kind of like a Binging with Babish, but a little more at home, a little more science based. He's definitely he got me to like I only use olive oil now because of him.
Versus what?
versus like avocado oils or other types of oils. He like did a pretty in-depth video on kind of like why people were like afraid of using like like you're like not supposed to like stir fry with olive oil and stuff like that. But he like kind of went into like it's actually probably okay. And olive oil is probably the best oil for you in my opinion, based off of what he does. But yeah, he does a lot of simple cooking. He's the guy who salts his cutting board, so
Okay.
he might be a little sus, but he's like Kenji. Him and Kenji, I think they might have done like a co-op video once too.
Got it.
There's this one medical YouTuber, which I can't think of his name right now, but it is super. Oh my gosh. Chubby Emu.
Chubby Emu.
Chubby Emu.
That is a hell of a name. And
Yeah.
what is he?
He's I think he's a PhD, but he takes really bizarre medical cases and he walks you through like in a very dramatic like storytelling way from beginning to end.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he'll go into like there's like weird ones like, oh, this person was eating toothpaste for like months and like this is what happened to them. This is why their brain like went poo poo.
Wow.
Yeah, super cool.
Do you know? Did you listen to that specific story about the toothpaste?
I did, but I can't recall exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's stuff like that.
Being able to sell that type of stuff is huge. Like the way he presents that can be the difference between you watching it and being entertained and you changing the web page in 30 seconds.
Dude, yeah, it's it it's crazy how yeah, like content creators, you really have to. There's like an art to it for sure.
There is an art to it. It's
And it's
like what?
sorry, I was gonna say it's lucrative if you if you nail it.
It is lucrative. It's not
Yeah,
easy though,
not
and
easy. Yeah.
the market for content creators is pretty saturated right now, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, but it's still fun regardless. Even like you don't have to get rich. It could just be, a hobby or something that you enjoy because I think we're all going to get onto that sort of, maybe not that exact form, but like to some degree, we're all going to have content to create. Maybe it's not like entertainment content, but even for like a doctor, there's going to be some sort of content that you're going to need to create and put out there to the world.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what type of doctor you want to be?
Right now, I'm leaning towards cardiology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just think it's pretty cool. It's one of the few. I've only done a year, so there's only a few other organ systems that I've been exposed to. But to me, it's the one where you can get a lot of information from the physical exam, like from just listening to the patient, like with your stethoscope, and you can like kind of like pinpoint. You can like diagnose based off the physical exam. You don't need to like run blood tests. Well, you do, but it's not like people who are involved like oncology, like deal with leukemias or anemias. Like they're running blood tests and kind of pinpointing it. But I feel like with cardiology, you can really just from the physical exam, you can learn so much, and I think that's cool.
Okay, like
Yeah.
what can you learn?
For example, like there's different parts on your chest where if you listen to it, you can pinpoint like which valve of your heart is like the one that is, for example, like possibly damaged or impaired, the type of murmur you can hear, and then like depending on which side of the heart's affected, you'll have different parts of your body will show signs and symptoms, right? Like let's say your left heart, which takes blood from your lungs and then pumps it to the rest of your body. If the left side of your heart starts malfunctioning, then these patients are going to have a fluid backup in their lungs. So, for example, like oh, they'll notice that once they're laying down at night, like they're having difficulties breathing, right? Because the blood is pulling back up there. So there's just a lot of signs and symptoms that you can just it's like solving a puzzle, you know. So
That sounds fun.
yeah, so
I,
cardiology definitely piqued my interest right now. So
nice. Well, good luck.
thanks.
You have 2.5 more years or 2 years?
3.
3 years. You just finished your first.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're still going to be in a classroom for the next year.
Before I'm in the clinic, yeah.
Wow. And is it going to be mostly remote? Have they told you?
No, I think we're gonna be mostly in person. I think there's gonna be like one part of our course which is gonna be online. Um, but it seems like yeah, things are back in person. Kind of a bummer because I'm so used to virtual learning at this point. I wish I could just stick with it, but nice to meet people.
It's nice to meet people. I
Yeah.
definitely wish we could stick with a bit more virtual uh, infrastructure. Medical school, it's probably a lot harder. I mean, but your classrooms I feel like your classrooms could probably be done virtually. Do you think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah. The first 2 years of medical school can definitely be done virtually, minus like anatomy. But even anatomy was kind of doable.
What would not like? What's the reason anatomy would not be doable?
I think it's just probably a lot easier. Well, it's not doable. It's just probably a lot easier to cut open a cadaver rather than like memorizing images and watching videos, right?
Yes.
Having that like in person, like, oh wow, this is the femoral vein that I'm like pulling, like to look underneath and stuff. I think that's probably such a better experience than some guy dissecting a virtual body.
I agree.
Yeah.
How many
How's sorry?
how many cadavers did you go to, or do you know how many cadavers? Because you were working remotely.
Yeah, so we didn't have cadavers.
But do you know how many they regularly would cut into, or is it just like one?
Oh, I think it's one. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that would be, like, say you had anatomy, you
Hmm.
could do like 75% of it remotely and then come in 25% for labs.
Yeah, that's true.
And, even for that lab, it's like, I mean, I'm thinking of the workspace right now, but it's like, say, so you have to be in the office for something, like just reducing that 8 hour period of expecting that person to be there. I think that's going to be I mean, I don't know if it's going to be, but I hope that's one change that's implemented in the future. It's like, do they need to be here for 8 hours out of the day?
Right.
Could they be here for 2 to 4? I think so. But it's going to be interesting to see how it moves forward.
Yeah, I hope companies and schools realize that, we can be more efficient
Yes, I mean for
and
us
happier.
and happier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I think the efficiency that's lost. There's probably a little bit of efficiency that's lost.
Mhm.
I think that's small compared to what's gained by the employee. So it's really just we'll see which employers are willing to stick with it and how they're willing to stick with it.
Yeah. Let's see. Hopefully for the better.
What was that?
Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for the better. Yes.
How's your, how's your work changing?
How's your mine? It's going back.
Okay.
I'm yeah, it's going back. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I left my work last month,
Okay.
so I'm looking for new work. Yeah,
Cause okay, what were you? You're EE, right?
I was EE.
Okay.
But I do a lot of computer science too. EE is nearly impossible to do remotely, but even then it's like you could go in for a couple hours and then come back. It's like I do a lot of computer science right now, which is what I'm leaning towards. I'm looking for a remote job, and not even a fully remote job, but like pretty much what I said to you. Like I can go in maybe once every couple weeks for 2 or 4 hours if needed to be on like, for you it would be a cadaver. For me, it would be like some piece of electronics.
Right.
Then that would be very ideal. But we'll see how that works itself out.
Yeah. Damn. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Good luck to you too.
Thank you.
So, do you have any plans for this summer?
I guess school starts up in about a month. I'm just gonna try to wrap up my projects at school, my professor, and then I'm going to Portland for a week next week.
Oh, nice. What are you going to do there?
Never been. It's for my girlfriend's mom's birthday. So
does she live out there, or does she live in Santa Monica?
They're from the valley, so we're just gonna fly up. Yeah.
I heard it was very hot.
Dude, my friend just came back from Seattle. She said it was real hot, like 100. They're going through a heat wave.
Crazy. Well, hopefully that cools down by the time you're there.
Yeah. I forgot. Point previous. Well, sorry, backtracking a lot. Banff National Park. You should check out Montana and Yellowstone before you go to Banff.
What's the reason?
Banff is the bigger, better version. So you don't want. If you go to Banff first, you'll be disappointed by the other two, probably.
Really? Bigger, better?
Dude, like when I went to Glacier National Park in Montana, I was like, holy shit, this place is massive. It's beautiful. Then I went to Banff and I'm like, it's even bigger. Like so unimaginably big that you can't even you don't even know, like it's not like I want to go to that mountain. It's like there's like 20 of them.
Really?
How do you even pick? Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Gorgeous. Oh my gosh. During the summertime, highly recommend it.
Wow.
All of them. Yeah, Glacier National Park was beautiful. Banff is beautiful. The Tetons. The Tetons are great.
Are the Tetons in the Rockies?
Is it the Rockies? It's in Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Might be.
Yeah.
You just came back from a camp backpacking trip, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I just did Ray Lakes.
Where is that?
It's in Kings Canyon and Sequoia National Park.
Oh, wow. How was it?
Gorgeous.
How was the weather? I'm actually thinking about going there on Wednesday.
Oh, dude, you should go. The weather was pretty good. It was a little hot, but not as hot as probably like where we are right now. When I was there, we actually had a thunderstorm the second night.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 1 a.m. Everyone got woken up to our tents just like flapping and just like bright lights every now and then with thunder. It was a weird experience. It was wild. I thought I was like, is my tent gonna fly away? But yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes. I guess it might not affect you if you're not backpacking and getting up to the lakey area. But that was like 10 out of 10, the worst mosquito experience I've ever had.
Dude,
it was so bad.
I actually a couple years ago went up to Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite National, and so I usually go there in August. I've been there like multiple times in August. Yeah. No mosquitoes. 2 years ago, I went there in June.
Oh no!
Awful mosquitoes, very bad. And I actually found out that like Alaska, that's the same time too. It's like May, June, mosquitoes.
Interesting.
Yes. And I think in July is when the mosquitoes start dying off. And by August, I don't think there are many mosquitoes around.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wish I knew that.
I wish I knew that too, because that's exactly, I mean, I don't know how it was for you, but it's like,
Mhm.
especially when you get close to the lakes or any water source, it's like, I can't even be here right now.
Yeah.
Like, I like want to enjoy being right by this lake and like how beautiful it is, but these mosquitoes are so terrible.
Right. It was taking a crap was like the worst experience ever because like you drop your trowel and then you're like holding toilet paper in one hand and like your trash bag in the other and trying to poop and they're just biting your butt.
Oh
It was
man.
miserable.
How are you packing out? What was your trash bag? Was
It's just a Ziploc bag.
that, what does it hold?
It was like so you had to pack out your teepee. You can leave your poop, um,
Okay,
but you had to pack out your teepee. Yeah.
got it. Do you have you ever used biodegradable TP?
I did not. I had the opportunity because my friend brought some, but have you? Is it different?
I mean, I can throw it. You can throw it in the ground, can't
That's
you?
true. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
that's a huge difference. That's you know that I like that. So I have used. It's pretty cheap on Amazon. You can get three pretty good sized rolls for $6.
Oh, that's the move. All right.
Definitely consider it because, like, dude, I mean, I don't know. You just the first. I mean, if you're able to take a shit in the woods, then you're good. But just it's nice because then you can
Huh.
just plop it all right there and then just throw the
Bury
shovel
it.
up. Yeah,
Yeah. Next time.
next time.
Yeah.
Well, Erwin, this was awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Do you have any last remarks or anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we head out?
Mm, hmm. No, not really. I hope they enjoyed what I had to say and enjoyed our conversation. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Erwin.
Thanks, man.
See you.
See ya.